Hi, I'm Kevin Van de Woestijn, and I'm the project engineer for the Thomas Engineering Group's municipal department. People always ask me, what's the one interesting fact about yourself? Well, one time I was a semi-finalist in the Kyle Orden neckbeard contest. It's on our website, check it out. Well, anyways, currently we are managing the Roosevelt Road water main relining project in Lombard, Illinois. Before we get too far into the project itself, let me tell you a little bit more about our company. Here at Thomas Engineering, our motto is service of the highest grade, and we aim to show this every day at every job. We also promote a healthy work-life balance for all of our employees. People love us. We're great. Every year we have a softball team. Check out our 2016 highlights montage on YouTube. We currently have 14 views and we hope for 15. Our firm was founded in 2008, and since then we've provided reliable, sustainable, and cost-effective solutions for all of our clients. We work in a number of capacities, such as transportation design, municipal design, and water distribution. At the 2015 ASCE annual dinner, we were named the Private Sector Engineering Firm of the Year. Our main focus is road resurfacing and reconstruction, so basically we solve other people's mistakes. Most of our work is done in municipalities in the western suburbs, such as West Chicago, Lombard, and throughout DuPage counties. In these areas, we work with the municipalities' engineering consultation. Currently, we are a smaller firm with about 45 employees. We usually have several employees working on teams from different departments together, displaying our team-oriented atmosphere. Another specialty of ours is working with other firms. We can play nicely with others. It's very nice. On the project we'll be talking about today, we worked very closely with FurPal. Jason Perez was the construction manager from FurPal on this project, and he did a great job even though it was his first major project. Congratulations, Jason. He couldn't be reached for comment today, something about a golf tournament.
Strike two, 1 and 2. Well, that is one of the strangest strikeouts you will ever see.
Now that I've told you a little bit more about our company, let me take you to talk to someone who can tell you a little bit more about our project, the Roosevelt Road water main relining. His name's Matt Champine, and he is the resident engineer for the project. So great weather we're having. So anyways, here's Matt.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Matt Champine.
I'm Sophia. How are you?
All right. How are you?
So I'm a student from the University of Illinois, and I was just wondering if I could ask you some questions about your relining project.
Of course. Ask away.
Oh, so who's providing the funding for this project?
The Illinois Environmental Protections Agency is providing their funding through the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and that is how we are getting the funding for this project.
So what is your role in this project?
I am the resident engineer, so I am on site every single day, making sure that the design and the plans are being followed and making sure that we're keeping up with our schedule and making sure that nothing really goes wrong on the project itself.
Yeah. So what kind of business does Thomas Engineering usually do? And is it a big firm or more of a local firm?
Most of our work is small time on like road reconstruction and resurfacing. We usually hold like deals with several municipalities where they consult us with any engineering needs that they might have, and then based upon our recommendations, they'll go and fix things that we say require more attention than others. We're a rather small firm. We only have about 45 people at the moment, but we only started in 2008 with 3 people, so we're gradually increasing our workforce.
And where do you guys do work? Do you guys do work all over Illinois, or are you more concentrated?
Mostly it's in the western suburbs, places like Lombard and West Chicago, and recently we've been getting a lot of DuPage County area resurfacing projects.
What are some of the benefits of a water main relining?
Well, basically what you want to do is make it structurally sound again, and you want it to be safe enough for people to drink out of it and use on a day-to-day basis. So if your water quality is not up to standards, then you obviously have to do something about it.
Why would you want to reline a water main as opposed to, say, replacing it?
You want to reline it because, if you can, of course, because it's actually about half to maybe even 1/3 the cost that it is to replace it. Replacement causes much more damage to the earth around it as well. With a replacement, you would have to have like a full dugout trench alongside of it, and then while relining, all you have to do is dig a couple of deep holes in specific places that you need to, and that's the only earth damage that you will do.
So, are there any conditions in where a replacement would be better than a relining?
Mostly only if there's actually structural damage to the pipe itself, or maybe if there's something wrong with the materials that they used initially, such as in Flint when they had the problems with the lead piping sometimes. If there was a case like that, which there isn't in this project, then you would use a replacement, but instead it's usually way better just do a relining and move on with it.
So, for this project in specifically, what does a water main relining involve?
Alright, so the water main relining mostly consists of creating a new bypass system, so that way we can keep all the local businesses on water while still cleaning out and relining this water main. So what we would do is we connect them to the bypass and make sure that that is clean enough and healthy enough for them to be drinking out of. And then while they're hooked up on that, we reline the water main, and then once that's relined, we hook them back up to the main water main, and then everything's fine. And then we
What's the
continue
rewarding
down
part
the
of
line.
your job, would you say?
I would say the most rewarding part of this project in particular was just making sure that people had safe and clean water to drink out of and to use for their businesses, and that way that everybody's safe and healthy.
And did you run into any huge problems along the way?
The biggest problem that we ran into in this project was the type of piping needed for this water main. When Fort Powell received the project, they were under the impression that it was going to be 4-inch bypass. However, it turned out to be 6, and this caused them to have to. The way in which that you connect two 6-inch bypass pipes is much different than a 4-inch. 4-inch, you can literally just lock them together and secure them, and then you have everything you need. However, with a 6-inch, you need to fuse them together using a fusion machine, and which consists of a splicing machine that will cut them down to the same exact surfaces. And then you have to put like a hot plate between them for about a minute, and that'll heat the rubber up hot enough to where they can fuse together. And once that's done, you have to pull the fusion machine shut, and that you have to let that sit for about 10 minutes. And as you can see, that takes much longer than just locking them together and moving on. So when we first learned that they didn't have any experience with that, it took a long time for them to get used to it, but once they did, we were able to keep going and move quickly through the project.
Did that set you back money-wise at all?
It did not, because they learned early on enough in their bidding process that they didn't know how to do that, and it would take more time, so we just drew out the schedule longer. In order to help you visualize what we've been talking about recently, I'm going to show you some pictures of the project, that way you can get a good visual of what's going on.
Oh, fantastic.
This is a connection to where a fire hydrant would have to be. We have to keep these in order to maintain fire code. This is for if there's a fire in the area, any fire truck can come up, hook up, and be instantly connected to water. This next one is a visual of what we do in order to avoid going over top of driveways. If we need to come across a driveway, we have to dig out a certain section of it, and then we put the pipe underneath it and then fill over top of it. That way the business is not affected by our construction. This is one of those dig outs that we had to complete in order to access certain parts of the water main. They are typically about 10 feet deep, and they are very dangerous, so we have to put protective barriers around them. This next picture is one of what happens when you fuse the two pipes together. That little split that you see there is what happens when the fusion machine works properly and creates a proper bond between the two pipes. This is a visual of what is necessary to hook up a home to water. We had to hook up everybody to the bypass system in order to maintain good standing with the city. This is a picture of the storage of the machines used on the project. Sheridan had to keep certain spaces open every day. That way they could keep their instruments off to the side and out of everybody's way. And here's a video to show you the general scope of this project.
Under every municipality, there are large water mains that carry water from the source to businesses and homes just like yours. When these were first installed, metal pipes were the best option. However, most of these pipes have now corroded. When that happens, it causes buildup and breakage, leading to damage and costly repairs. This is where we come in. FurPal has been helping municipalities rehabilitate aging water mains since 1986. But how, you might ask? Well, that's a good place to start. FurPal rehabilitates old water mains through a process called cured-in-place piping, essentially building a new water main inside the old one. The first step in this process is installing a bypass system. This means that residents will have water connected to their property at all times during construction. Next, we cut into the water main and clean out any rust or buildup on the inside. Using a metal scraper and high-power water jet, we restore the water main back to its original metal interior. After that, we send a robot with a camera into the main. This allows us to see what we are working with, while also plugging the services off the water main to make sure they are left unaffected when lining the pipe. We follow this step by inserting our liner into the water main. The liner is a polyester jacket which we inject with an epoxy resin on site. Once the liner is in place, we inflate it with hot water, allowing the epoxy to cure, giving it its strength. Once our liner has hardened, we send through another robot to drill out the services and reestablish a connection to each property. After the robot is done, we test the newly rehabilitated water main and reconnect it to the existing system. What's left is a brand new water main without the cost and excavation that comes with a typical water main replacement. Now that you know a little more about water's journey to your home, what do you say we make it a safe one? Ask for FurPal. FurPal, helping your community help you.
Alright, it was nice meeting with you. I gotta get back home and you can lock up on the way home.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
are you working on the water main relining project?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I had a couple questions from you. I live in Lombard, and why are you guys working on the project? It seems like it's a lot of road work right now. We're really busy. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Of course. Well, the project's necessary at this point because in this area there have been several water main breaks in the past couple of years, which is obviously very dangerous to everybody around. And with this new project, they'll be safe for up to 50 years, providing clean water to everybody in the area.
Okay, that's all fine and good, but like, are there gonna be any inconveniences? Like, I'm worried about my commute to work every day. I gotta make my regular lunch. I've got like 15 minutes for lunch, and I gotta get in and get out. I don't know, this is a big hassle.
We do have rules as to how we can close lanes. In the city of Lombard, you're not allowed to close lanes until after 9 a.m. So as long as you're traveling to work before then, you'll be fine. However, your lunch will be disturbed by that. And since Roosevelt is a very heavily traveled road, you may want to add a couple of minutes of time to your travel. Sorry about that. However, all the businesses in the area will not be affected. All driveways must remain open 24 hours a day. That way they cannot be affected and their profit margins won't be touched.
Okay, well, thanks. I just was walking by and thought,